and welcome to season 2, episode 6 of Inspired to Thrive. So are you struggling with success perhaps? It's an interesting question, isn't it, when you really get down to grips with it? And if you are, then this episode could well be for you. I'd like to talk tonight or today about the warrior way for winning the game of inner success. So I'm your host, Fiona Jean, Purposeful Warrior, and my passion is to teach others to share my wisdom and ultimately help you guys to create generational wealth for yourself and your legacy, so it can live on long after. Hi Jai, thanks for joining. I'm not FGTV. I say this every week. That you may join and watch these shows. We're here to inspire you to thrive in your business and your life, you as an individual. And we want you to take it serious, to absorb the content that we are sharing, to download all of the free gifts that we have on offer from both myself and from our guest speakers, and really to take some action in your life, maybe propel yourself more in the direction that you want to go. So if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, if you're watching us live, please drop in, say hi, let us know where you're coming from. Let's get into it. So really, most people think that life gets better if they have something or they get something. Perhaps there's more happiness, more time, more freedom, more money, a better car, a bigger house. But the truth is, getting more stuff is not the answer to a fulfilling life. As Jim Rohn says in his quite famous quote these days, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. But there we are again, you see, it's the doing. A life well lived consists of moments upon moments where you experience what it is you value experiencing. So if you're sitting on the couch right now, eating chocolate and binging on Netflix, that's exactly what you are valuing, because that's what you're experiencing. Food for thought, right? Because you see, I think most people live two versions of themselves. In fact, I know this is for the majority of people. The surface version, that which we take out to the world and think we should be. And then there's our core self, the true self that we're meant to be and desire to be. And often most people in my experience that I come across, and certainly when I start working with new clients, is that they are two parts of the same whole. And in fact, we are many selves, but it's embracing them for each, the gifts that each of them has to show us. That's the most important thing. And our purpose is to guide you back to your core, really. This is where the magic happens. The core self, when you are your true self, as you're meant to be, you desire to be, all of your hashtag 50 shades of grey, whatever that happens to be. So as I go through, there will be a workbook as well. The team will post the link in the comments below. You'll be able to download that. If you have got a pen and paper for now, I suggest as we work through the elements of the workbook, I'll do that with you in this live, is to actually make some notes, and then when you go back and read and look at the workbook later, you'll see how easy it is to complete. So I will explain all of the 4 dimensions. It's a 4-dimensional system. I call it the B.A.S.E system, B.A.S.E, and we'll walk through that thoroughly the process once we begin, if you like, to align you with your true north, so to speak. So you may start to live a life that both fulfills and attracts abundance in all things. Because to align ourselves, really, we need to look at our environment. It really is the big picture, the overall purpose of what we're doing. Our big, hairy, audacious why, if you like. It's our vision, our value, our passion, our standards, ourselves, expectations of both ourselves and others. Our mindset, and so it's actually so much more than that. These are the base elements. Because when we're clear on our purpose, why we're doing something, we can start to see how it fits into the bigger picture. So who's done their ideal day exercise? I'd love to let me know if you have. If you've done a vision board, something like that, there's lots of freebies and things that have been given away for things like that. So please go back and have a look through them, or comment here, and we'll connect you with the right workbook if that's what you need. And if you have done your vision board or your ideal day exercise, then share in the chat with us. You know, post a picture of your vision board. I'd love to see and you know, congratulate you on making these steps. I think at the heart of what we all want is financial freedom, to live our ideal day and our extraordinary life, isn't it? Whatever that means for you. For me, it's not hanging around on the beach every day. Whilst that might be nice for a week or so, I'm sure I'll get bored pretty quickly. My ideal day and extraordinary life is about serving and you know, helping people to achieve generational wealth, and yes, taking care of myself along the way, having the time to do what I want to do when I do it as well, and to have that balance or that harmony. You know, teetering on the edge of balance of I don't want things to stay stagnant. Everything's got to be moving for me. I believe if we don't have a picture of what it is we desire, our passion, then it's often where we get stuck. And we get stuck in the task. And although we may feel that we're doing lots of things, if it's with little clear direction and it lacks meaning, if you like, and purpose, then it's often when we experience that journey with our old friend, you know, Master Procrastination. I'm sure he comes to visit you too, along with Miss Overwhelm. So on this journey to inner success, it starts with us, the warrior weight. Everything starts within. It's within ourselves, our being. It's one person. It's having a dream and then heading in the direction of that dream, one step after the other, bringing our passion, our humor as we learn. As we fall, we pick ourselves up, we laugh it off. I talked this week as well about embracing uncertainty and how we can do that. And when we do that, if we choose to laugh, the body responds and it releases the stress and the anxiety, the fear. It doesn't understand what it's doing. It's a physical reaction in the body. So laugh as much as you can, laugh loud and laugh often. And if we bring all of that together and have a system and tools to do it, we truly do become unstoppable. So what's this game of success all about? Like I said, we must first know ourselves, and we care about what we care about, what we're prepared to do, to commit to, before we can focus on the rest. So are you clear in your minds, what it is that you know and that you want for yourself? Because our internal world shapes and determines our outer world. So it's up to you to ensure that you give yourself the very best mind flexibility that you can for this journey forward. So you might, if you have a pen and paper, get it ready, and we'll start going through the 4 dimensions, the 4 steps. So as I mentioned before, I love acronyms, and the acronym is B.A.S.E, B-A-S-E. So the first one, well, I'll study them all. B is beliefs, A is attributes, S is standards, and E is expectations. So let's look at the first quadrant then. This is beliefs. And in the workbook, you'll find there's a couple of pages here. There are 4 pages, one for each of the dimensions, that are designed for you to print separately and to create the top 5 or 7 things that of each category that are right for you in this moment right now. And then put them somewhere visual aid, somewhere that you can read them aloud, you can look at them, you can visually see it. You can hear yourself saying the words. You can even record yourself saying the words and listen to it on your morning walk or whatever it is that you do for yourself. So the first one is beliefs. And while there are actually 5 different types of beliefs, which we can perhaps get into a different podcast or chat about, we're going to focus here on identity beliefs, because this is really all about finding and knowing ourselves more, the warrior way. Who's going to have a drink? Got a beautiful carrot, orange, and ginger. Fresh juice, which is gorgeous. So firstly, what is a belief? What do you think it is? Type it into the chat box if you know. I'd love to have you interact. For me, a belief is something that that a person believes is true. It's a feeling, perhaps, a feeling that we've certain things are real or true. Everyone believes in something, because what we believe in affects the way that we live our life. And what we will create here will be the belief statements of who you need to be to achieve what is in your ideal day, your extraordinary life, a life of purpose and passion that you want to live. So if that's you right now and you know that you want something different in your life, but you're not sure how to get there, the first step of this warrior way to winning the game of inner success is to create 5 to 7 belief statements that you can live and breathe and embody and embrace for yourself. So what's some examples of these belief statements? Some of mine are, I am whole and complete. I am fun and playful. I am a learning machine. I am enough. I am love. So there's 5 easily, that came to my mind. Granted, I've been doing this a long time. I do this with clients as a very, very powerful session. When you're led through this, if you want to do one of those sessions, reach out, let me know. Happy to find a slot in the diary for you, especially as we're coming to the end of this year and to start moving forward into 2022. So if you have created an identity statement and you're watching the replay, I'd love you to post up an identity statement. Just write one for me now in the chat box. That'd be wonderful. And as I say, you can print out the page for beliefs from the workbook and actually write them in. Nice, beautiful coloured pens, whatever it is that floats your boat, some diagrams, some drawings. Make it yours. And then you'll be able to read it every day and to inspire and thrive, inspire you to thrive more in your life. So the second dimension, the second step is A, and that was attribute. Now, what is an attribute? What do you think? Again, put into the chat box. Let me know what you're thinking. For me, an attribute is a quality or a feature. Perhaps like a characteristic or an inherent part of someone or something. That's an attribute. And I believe that these are internally focused, and then I bring them with me every day intentionally into my life, so that I might set myself up for success. And I tend to, whilst the sheet, you can have just 5 or 7 attributes, I tend to make them into more of a statement, and sometimes I hybrid 2 of them together. So for example, one of mine is an insatiable curiosity to learn and grow. So my attribute I'm bringing here is curiosity. I've made it into a sentence. So you can either write curiosity, or you can do something similar to me, an insatiable curiosity to learn and grow. A humble compassion, both for myself and others, is another one of mine. Because I think it's important to have compassion for myself as well as others. And the next one is an example of where I put 2 attributes together. So here I have true grit and determination to follow my dreams. So that means that I'm going to be determined. And for me, determination is, it's consistency, it's persistent. I'm going to keep going, keep on my journey. The next one is creatively strives to find a way. There's always at least one. So that helps me when I build this attribute to realize that I actually can be creative. I am creative. I can find a way. There's always at least another way to do something when I feel stuck. And humor and passion in all that I do. because I want fun in my life. I want passion in my life. And what I do, I'm passionate about. So it makes sense for me to have humor and passion in all that I do. So there's some examples of attributes that I have for myself. And again, I'd encourage you to get your pen and paper out, download the workbook once the link goes up here, and start thinking what these things are for you. And then I'd love you to share in the chat box with me as well. So the next up, number 3, is the S, and that was standards. So what are standards? What do you think? Type that in the box now as well. A lot of interaction with you guys today. Our personal standards are nothing more than a set of behaviors. That's all they are. But these behaviors are built upon expectations you have of yourself in a variety of situations. And those expectations may well have come from past experiences and past events that have occurred. So they may well be not your own. It's an interesting concept. So I think when you're thinking about your standards, you really need to dig deep and find out, okay, how do I want to be? Not necessarily what I'm doing now. What do I want to be? How do I want to show up for things? Because they really lay the benchmarks of the performance of your life. I also believe that we should have some rules around our standards. Because if they're sloppy, which is often the case, to be honest, we try and do things and it's all right, I'll just let it go this time, so it becomes sloppy and not important, I think, is really perhaps the word I would describe it by. And this can lead people to walk all over you and take advantage of you. You don't have standards for yourself or boundaries as well. And we should consider the rules we want to implement around our standards. Because in my experience, the rules need to be consistently applied, but flexible enough that we can facilitate occasions where we might choose to relax our rules without feeling guilty about it or feeling that we're letting ourselves down or not keeping our promises to ourselves. So, some of my standards are, I am compassionate and not afraid to embrace emotion. It's my hashtag 50 Shades of Grey. I am being love and trust. I want to live in that place of love and trust because I know on the opposite side of the scale is fear and doubt. And I don't want to live in a life of fear and doubt. I keep promises that I make to myself. This is a big one for me because I realize I've let myself down a lot in the past by saying I'll do things and never not doing them properly. So I'm very careful these days what I do promise to do. Good lessons learned. I'm compassionate, not afraid to embrace emotion. I think, although I've said that one already, it's important because compassion is a huge thing. And I think as well, having the standard and the flexibility around that, because we do need to exercise compassion. I'm a true believer in that. I serve from a place of love. So every conversation I have, every client that I see, every live that I prepared for, I'm doing so from a place of love. And I truly hope that that comes across in what I do and how I deliver things. Sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes it's funny love. Love comes in all forms. But I always try to be unconditional with my love, and it's the best way to be as far as I'm concerned. It's a journey though. It's not an easy thing to do. It doesn't happen overnight. So again, I have to give myself compassion, allow myself that compassion, and not be afraid to feel the feelings, to embrace the emotions, when something happens and I perhaps don't feel that I was being loving. So again, if you have a standard you've already prepared, I'd love you to share it in the box with us. So let's move into the final dimension. The final dimension is E, expectations. So what is an expectation? What do you think? I'd love to hear again your thoughts on this one. Because our expectations are often the standards we have for others, how we will deal with people, how we expect others to treat us. Some people have low expectations of others and some have high. And it's said that we teach people how to treat us, which I do believe is very true. And that we get the treatment we deserve based on what we're willing to accept. So if you don't have any boundaries or any standards for yourself, then really you're teaching everyone around you to walk all over you. And therefore, you expect nothing other than that of others. You expect to be downtrodden, to be walked over, to be used and abused. And this becomes part of the cycle that we're looking here to break, because you are far worthier than that. Because you will attract higher quality people around you, the higher expectations of those that you hang out with is. That's very true. I can speak from my experience on that one. So some expectations I have is, really for myself as well as for others. I expect to work hard in life. It's not a free ride. Because it isn't. Life, we have to work for what we want. I accept all feedback as a gift and give it with love. So that is, again, an expectation that's double-ended. I'm accepting all feedback as a gift given to me, and I give it with love. Because if I have feedback for someone that there's something that I don't agree with, or I no longer want to tolerate in my life, or feedback on a piece of work that they've done, or whatever it happens to be, then I give it with the love that I want to serve my clients and my friends and family with. Another one is I know my true worth and will not allow myself to be taken advantage of. So again, that's a clear boundary. It's a clear expectation that I know I am worthy of, being paid for my service, to have an exchange, to, worthy of being heard, being seen. I'm enough, I'm whole and complete exactly as I am. So all of these things in some way start to merge together once I've been doing this for a while, and it can actually start to merge together, which is good, because then I think you have a proof and a knowingness inside that you're doing the work and things are starting to be embodied, which is a beautiful place to be. So that's the 4 segments of B.A.S.E. Belief, attribute, standard, expectation. And again, if you take the time to go through this workbook, you will be able to create the 4 pages, and I'd love to see pictures of them. But I have a little challenge for you. Excuse me, let me have a drink. A little challenge that I sometimes do this time of year for myself in December. I find that December can be a very distracting month with all the Christmas festivities. often here as well, it's a change now of nicer weather, so you wanted to be outside more, doing different things. So I'm inspired to ask you all to join me, because knowing our big why is wonderful. It really is. And there's an awesome power, I believe, as well, in having a daily why. So I'd love to introduce this concept to you and ask if you will join me each day for the next week. I'd love you all to write your daily why in your journal, or just a notebook on a piece of paper, whatever it is for you. That's your daily why, the reason you're staying committed to whatever it is you're doing. So for example, if you're committed to watching the Warrior Wealth Wednesdays with me, or whatever it happens to be, reading a book or whatever it is, what's your daily why for staying committed to that commitment that you made to yourself? Your inner inspiration to follow through, to make good on the promises and your actions, and continue to stay you back on course if you lose your way. So it's your daily why. An example could be, let me think, perhaps reconnect with me, so I may be a better version of myself, or perhaps your commitment to yourself is that you're going to look after your health and well-being, which is one of mine. So I do that because I want to have the energy to achieve my goals. I want to nurture a healthier lifestyle. You know, I want to look and feel good about myself. So these are, these can be three. There's three there that can be my daily whys for the next week. Why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm eating well or trying to eat well. some days. So I'd love to see who's prepared to make that commitment in noting their daily why for the next 7 days. So in wrapping up, excuse me, I'd just like to leave you with these closing comments. And I'm going to name it #getting-lost, because I think sometimes we do get lost. Because it's easy to start strong on a new adventure, right? It's easy to start strong, but harder to stay inspired after the initial excitement, perhaps. And you probably hit a few bumps and dips along the program and the road, and you know, whatever it is you're choosing to stay committed to. Even miss a few days here and there. So be prepared for some backsliding. Yeah, that's backsliding, not backsliding. Okay, I saw the giggles. Because if you do, don't worry, it's actually okay. It's okay. In fact, and honestly, it's to be expected. When we start things that are new and unfamiliar, we lose interest or we lose inspiration. And it works, you know, it's one of those things that we have to, again, have our daily why to re-inspire us so we get back on the train, get back on the track, you know, that we're walking. It's not about being perfect. It's about being conscious of the choices you make. That's the big thing. Be conscious of the choices that you make so you can make better choices next time. And simply acknowledging any issues that come up, you know, make note of them in your journey and ask yourself a few questions. So if something's come up and, you know, it could be something simple like, what was the reason that knocked me off track? What happened? What triggered me? You know, and just think about it. Was it something someone said? Was it something you saw? Did you hear something? You know, was it a little voice inside your head even? You know, it's like, what fears are holding me back? Sometimes we stop. It's a fear that's getting in the way. So ask yourself, what's holding me back? There's lots of questions or things you could ask yourself. So use your answers to empower yourself, to make adjustments, to stay, you know, and just to see where you are and to seek help and guidance if you need it. We're here, you know, reach out to the group if you need help and guidance on this journey. So the gift is, like I said, the Inner Gamer Success Workbook. It'll be posted in the comments here below, and you can click on it and download your free copy. It's the 4 visual aids that I hope you will download and complete and use to help yourself. And when you've done it, perhaps you'll post a selfie with your visuals. So I trust that you enjoy this. And next week, again, I'd love you to join me live. 3 o'clock, that's next week on the 15th of December, for more inspiration to thrive and launch yourself more into 2022. So until then, remember, stay inspired and thriving. Be your own boss. Do whatever it takes. Bye for now.